Hey, time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. My wife, 28, wants a divorce because I fantasize about a different life with my first love. I, male 31, have been with my wife, female 28, for 3 years. We had a short engagement, married quick, and have a perfectly ordinary existence. I love her. She loves me. We do taxes, housework, watch movies, all the normal things. No physical cheating on either side as far as I know. But here's the thing. I am a lucid dreamer, which means I can, to an extent, control my dreams, which is something I find cool as it allows me to go on adventures while asleep. It also makes scary dreams not so bad because I can just wake myself out of them. Over the last year or so, I've been having a recurring dream about my ex, my first love, female 29. Truth be told, I never got over her. We were together for 5 years, from 15-17 to 20-22. We broke up after I graduated from college because she didn't want to move from New York to South Carolina with me, which is where the biggest industry for my field is. I was crushed, but moved on, and we've spoke sporadically over the years, though we never crossed any lines. I will admit that I've kept up with her own social media a bit, but nothing stalkerish. While a year ago, she announced she was getting married, and I experienced a resurgence of feelings for her, though I never acted on them or told her. That same night, I dreamed about her for the first time in years. In the dream, she showed up at my door and asked me if I wanted to get coffee. I said yes, of course. The dream, which was not a lucid dream, ended there. It felt so real. I couldn't shake the feeling once I woke up. It felt like we were actually reconnecting. Since then, I've dreamed about her several times a week, and I've practiced going lucid so I've been able to control the outcome more times than not. We've lived a whole life together over the past year. Everything from dates to a trip to Paris together, which we visited while in college. We even rewalked the same paths we did in real life. It got to the point I was looking forward to going to sleep to be with her. Fast forward to today, my wife told me she felt distant from me, and I started to feel guilty because I thought what I was doing was harmless, but she's obviously noticed a change in me. So I confessed about all of it. At first, she thought that I was joking, but when she realized I was serious, she accused me of cheating on her and told her mom and sisters who are calling me a cheating weirdo. She even threatened to tell my ex so she'll know what a, quote, freaking loser, end quote, I am. Now I get that it's not anything a woman would want to hear, but it's not like I physically cheated. I don't want to lose my wife, but I don't think she can forgive me for this. Update. 2 days ago, I posted about the fallout that occurred after I, 31, admitted to my wife, 28, that I have been lucid dreaming about my ex and first love, 29, over the past year. After a major blow-up, when my wife called me every name in the book and got her family involved, which I understand completely, so please don't take this wrong, my wife left. I didn't know her whereabouts for over 24 hours. Early this morning, about 3 a.m., she came home and told me she wanted to file for divorce. She didn't want to have to compete with a phantom and deserved better than a crap bag like me. But she didn't want to move out or start the process because it's a pandemic and she doesn't want to live on one income. We make roughly the same amount of money. Me 90 grand a year after taxes, and her 85. I tried to apologize to her for all the hurt I caused, for making her feel like she wasn't enough, to assure her that I do love her, even though I still love my ex, and explain to her that I've never physically cheated or had any inappropriate conversation with my ex. But she won't budge. She doesn't want me anymore. I can't blame her. I was selfish and I shouldn't have carried on what I now accept to be a one-sided emotional affair. So I agreed to stay together for financial purposes for 2 years. Or until the pandemic is over, whichever comes first. But she's kicked me out of our bedroom and basically claimed the second floor to herself. There's so much tension in the house right now, so I left as soon as the sun came up and went to a coffee shop to do some work. While there, I received a message on IG from my ex that my ex-wife sent her a long message from her own account telling her about everything that I told her. I froze because I hadn't spoken to her in a long time, but she saw that I had read the message and followed up an hour later, telling me she needed to know the truth. So, again, I confessed, expecting to be berated and called a loser again, because I had nothing else to lose. But she didn't think that my dreams about her were weird or creepy. She thought it was sweet that I still loved her, especially with her knowing that I'd never tried to have inappropriate conversations or force my way into her life. I'm aware that her not condemning my actions don't make them right or take away from the hurt I caused my wife, but knowing she didn't think negatively of me made me feel better. We messaged back and forth for a couple of hours, talking about our relationship and how it ended and the choices we made. In that, I learned that she and her fiancé called off their engagement a few months ago. I also told her my wife was going to divorce me because of the revelation. She expressed her condolences, and that was the end of the conversation. I'm home now, and I can't help but wonder if this is the universe's way of putting my ex and I back on the same path to reconciliation. Hate me if you want, but I made a mistake and I hurt my wife, and my marriage is over now. Or going to be. But knowing that the person I ruined my marriage over doesn't think I'm the scum of the earth is worth its weight in gold. I don't know what will happen now, but I can't imagine a friendship with my ex won't blossom from this, at the very least. I know this won't make my wife happy since she contacted my ex to further shame me, but I may just not tell her. We are, after all, divorcing. I hope the next few months and years can result in healing for both my wife and myself, and that we'll both live happy, fulfilled lives. Our next story. My, male 26, wife, female 26, isn't happy. My wife and I met close to 6 years ago. Crazy over each other and really intimate. After we got engaged, the intimacy started to die down, and a couple months before the wedding, my wife cut off all sexual acts, stating she wanted to wait until we got married. After getting married, that didn't change. She stated she just didn't have the hormones she had when we were young and crazy, and her sexual drive just wasn't there. I also thought it could be related to her weight gain, self-esteem issues, but I just said as long as nothing was wrong with us, I can live with it. The first year of marriage turned out to be terrible. A lot of arguments and disagreements. She got a job offer where she had to leave 2 hours away for training and ended up being there for months and making no effort to come back home. She eventually told me she wasn't happy. She said she felt like I was not holding my weight around the house, and she always had to tell me what to do. So I really worked on changing and managed to contribute a lot more around the house. Laundry, cleaning, cooking, and so on. Things drastically changed, and it seemed to be back to normal, and even better. Still not really intimate. The second year came around, and we seemed to be continuing to do well. We got involved in activities together, and didn't really fight much at all. The only problem was she wanted to move. She had a lot of bad memories from the area she grew up in, and wanted to get away from there. So we agreed to move, and she wanted to move back to my hometown. So we did. We ended up moving in with my parents for a couple of months to save up and look for a house. It wasn't easy because obviously we were living in someone else's house and trying to abide by their living styles. My wife and stepmom weren't vibing well because my stepmom said she didn't contribute around the house like everyone else and was lazy. After about 3 months total, we ended up moving out and into a house we bought together. After about a month in the house, her father flew up with her niece to stay and visit. Well, coronavirus hit, and they ended up staying for a month and a half because they couldn't get flights back. It was fine, but we weren't very intimate while her father was here. I expected that. Anyways, her father finally finds a flight back, but her niece ends up staying here for a couple months, so we can watch her while her father works. I agreed to it, but it did put some stress into our marriage. Nothing seemed wrong though. We still weren't fighting and just seemed like we were working through things together. Well, about 3 weeks ago, my wife sits me down and says she is unhappy and doesn't feel in love, but she loves me. She feels like we are just great roommates and can get stuff done. She doesn't like that we aren't intimate, and she feels like we just don't have a romantic connection. I'm puzzled because I addressed that shortly after we were married, and when I brought up that, she said she just didn't realize it until now. On top of that, I am always taking her out on dates and spending time with her, so it wasn't like I neglected that romantic part of our relationship. So we agreed to get some marriage books and try that. If that doesn't work, move to counseling. We got the books about a week ago. I've been reading and learning new things to apply, but when I talk to her about things we can try, she gets defensive and says things like, "You think you're the guru now." And when I asked her if she has read any of the books, she said she hasn't been reading. She said she doesn't even feel like fixing things. She doesn't know what she wants to do. I keep telling her I can put 110% into this, but if she doesn't put any effort into it, our marriage will continue to fail. I'm just so confused. I've been working so hard and putting forth so much effort. I work from home, I do 80% of the housework, cook the meals, take care of our niece, take care of the pets, pay the bills, read through these marriage books, and still make time for her when she gets home to try and fulfill her needs. I don't know what else to do. Can someone give me guidance? I feel like I'm being a great spouse, but am I just blind to my own shortcomings? I really want to fix it and will do whatever it takes. Update. Thank you everyone for the advice from the original post. I just wanted to give the community an update. My wife finally got back yesterday from leaving to go see her sister. We talked for a little bit yesterday, but still came to the same thing she has been telling me. She doesn't want to be with me because she doesn't feel in love, emotionally connected, or intimate towards me. She views me as a friend. I told her she needed to choose either we work on this and go to counseling, or it's a divorce and we cut ties. She couldn't decide and said to give her the weekend. This morning, I woke up early, made her breakfast, and brought it to her in bed. then took her out to eat for lunch and dessert, trying to just spark anything to see if she would agree to work on it. Well, we sat down again after getting back and she said she wanted a divorce and she was 100% on that. It was tough. A lot of crying, sadness, hurt, and all the emotions one would feel. I just ended up going to my room and she left for the night. I decided to go out and do something, so I jogged and listened to some music for a bit. It helped. I came to the realization that we all have such little time on earth and I don't want to waste it moping around. I want to improve myself physically, emotionally, and mentally. I want to just enjoy life and find myself again. So I'm going to do that, and one day I might meet someone who is perfect to continue the journey of life with me. So I'm still sad and hurt, but all that to say, I'm moving forward and trying to be positive. Thank you all for your support.